Apple just bet billions that AI features are worth a price hike in 2026, but OpenAI is sitting on a delay that might prove them completely wrong. And here's the thing. One of these companies is about to learn a painful lesson about how people actually feel about paying more for AI. Let me break down what's really happening behind the scenes, because the narrative everyone's running with is backwards. First, let's talk about what Apple did. They announced that starting in 2026, iPhones and other devices are getting a price bump. Not massive, but meaningful. We're talking an extra $100 to $200 in some markets, depending on the model. And the pitch? Apple Intelligence. Their on-device AI features, the stuff that's supposed to make Siri actually useful, summarize your texts, rewrite your emails, all that. The strategy is clear. Apple wants to position AI as a premium feature. You want better AI? You pay for better hardware. It's the same playbook they've run for years with computational photography, always-on displays, and processing power. Make the AI feature exclusive to the new device. Make the new device more expensive, and boom, you've got your upgrade cycle locked in. But here's where it gets interesting. OpenAI, the company that actually trained the models that power a lot of this stuff, is doing something different. They've announced delays to some of their most anticipated features. We're talking about reasoning models, advanced voice capabilities, things that were supposed to drop in late 2024 and early 2025. Those are now pushed to 2026 at the earliest. And some people are spinning this as OpenAI stumbling, missing deadlines, losing momentum. I think that's completely wrong. And I think Apple's the one in actual danger here. Here's why. The entire premise of Apple's price hike depends on one thing: that users will feel like the AI features they're getting are actually worth the extra money. That's not a technical question. That's a perception question. And perception is fragile. When you launch new AI features, you need them to feel genuinely better than what people had before. Not just different. Better. Faster. More useful. Stuff that makes them go, oh, that's why I paid for this. If you launch a $1,200 iPhone with AI features that feel like incremental improvements or, worse, feel like features that could run on last year's hardware if Apple didn't artificially gate them, your customers are going to feel ripped off. And they'll tell everyone about it. Apple's problem is timing. They're committed to a price hike in 2026. That's a hard deadline. They've already announced it to investors and the market. They can't back down without losing face and spooking Wall Street. But they're also dependent on OpenAI, on Google, on other AI companies to actually deliver features that feel transformative by the time those devices hit shelves. OpenAI's delay? That's actually the smarter play. They're saying, we're not shipping something until it's genuinely better. Not good enough. Better. Worth talking about. Worth the hype. Think about what happened with ChatGPT. It launched, and people immediately felt the difference. It was a moment. Everyone talked about it. That's the bar. If OpenAI ships reasoning models or advanced capabilities in 2026, and they feel that transformative, Apple wins, they can point to those features and justify the price. But if OpenAI ships them, and they feel incremental or overhyped, Apple's in trouble. They've already committed to the price hike. They can't say, well, the AI wasn't as good as we hoped, so we're dropping the price back down. And here's the second layer. Consumers are getting fatigued with AI hype. We've been in a constant stream of announcements and breakthroughs for 2 years now. Most of it doesn't feel that different in daily life. A lot of people are skeptical. So Apple's asking them to pay more for features that still have a trust deficit in the market. OpenAI's delay actually helps them here. By pushing features back, they're implicitly saying they're not going to participate in the hype cycle. They're going to ship when it's ready. That's actually a stronger position long-term than rushing something out to hit a deadline. Now, Apple isn't going to crash or anything. They have enough brand loyalty and ecosystem lock-in that people will upgrade regardless. But the 2026 cycle is going to be the first real test of whether consumers think AI is worth paying a premium for. And that test is going to be tight. Apple needs OpenAI and other AI companies to absolutely nail their 2026 launches. If those launches are middling, Apple's price hike becomes a story about Apple charging more for features that aren't that impressive. The irony is that OpenAI's delay, which looks like a weakness on the surface, is actually Apple's insurance policy. If OpenAI ships something genuinely incredible, Apple's justified. If they don't, well, Apple can blame the AI companies for not delivering. But Apple can't push back their price hike. That ship has sailed. They're committed. And that's the asymmetry that matters. So who actually loses in 2026? It's Apple. Not catastrophically. But they're the ones with a hard deadline and a customer base that's skeptical about whether AI is worth premium pricing. OpenAI gets to ship when they're ready and take credit for whatever lands. Apple has to make those features feel essential by a date that's already locked in. That's a much harder position to be in. And if I had to bet money, I'd say Apple's going to feel some real pressure on that upgrade cycle. The narrative's going to shift from Apple's leading AI to people aren't willing to pay for Apple's AI. And that's a story that spreads fast. If you want to actually understand how these tech plays are going to shake out instead of just reading headlines, subscribe. I break down these dynamics every few days, and honestly, it's the stuff that matters way more than the press releases.